All right, welcome back, everyone. This video is going to be a bit different. A lot of billionaires recently have been telling me that AI is the future of coding. So I recently did a series of videos where I made a game in JavaScript, and I thought it would be interesting to try and take some of the latest AI models, systems, whatever you call them, and see if they can reproduce the same thing. You know, did I waste my time writing all that JavaScript? Could AI have just done that? Let's find out. Obviously, this is just a silly little toy example, but I thought it would be a fun experiment. This is a really long video, by the way, so if you just want to see sort of the end result, here's what I was able to build with the AI in about 4 or 5 hours. But anyway, watch on if you want to see how I built this. I should say I'm already using AI quite a bit. I've been using DeepSeek, actually, not for any particular reason, just kind of out of habit. Everyone got very excited about it about 6 months ago, and I've just been using it since then. Mostly for research. Like, I like to ask it questions about, you know, basically instead of reading the documentation and figuring things out myself, it's a lot faster to basically just ask DeepSeek, hey, what's the best way to do this in this language or library or whatever. Usually gives you a nice summary and gives you some examples and different options. I've also used it to generate small bits of code here and there. But I want to go all the way. I want to see if I can get AI to pretty much write all the code for me, which seems to be what some people are claiming AI can do. So let's find out. So the first thing really is like which AI to use. So there's a couple that seem to get recommended a lot. This one's Claude by Anthropic, and Cursor also gets recommended a lot. So they're a bit different. I think Claude kind of comes with like plugins for your IDEs. So I like to use IntelliJ, so that's nice. Whereas Cursor kind of takes a different approach, that they actually have their own IDE that I guess is optimized for AI coding. So I think that's interesting. Like I'm very familiar with IntelliJ, so I suppose my natural inclination is to go with Claude Code. But on the other hand, if Cursor has built an IDE that's optimized for AI coding, maybe that's more effective. Maybe that's what I should do. So I'm kind of looking at their pricing plans here. Claude the Pro, which I guess is what I'd want. Although it's kind of hard to tell. Like, do I need max? It says you get 5 to 20 times more usage, but like 5 to 20 times, like what? Like, how do I know if I need that much? Hard to say, right? But you can see if you don't want to, it's $17, but you gotta. That's if you sign up for a whole year, or $20 a month otherwise. On the other hand, Cursor, how much does Cursor cost? I don't know. When I click on pricing, it just sort of brings me to the sign-on page, and then did it sign me in? What's going on? I don't know. And it just says how to install Cursor. Just run curl on this stuff. Hi, this is editor Matt speaking. Just going to pause things for a second to point out this is not the real Cursor website. This is a phishing website that I got to by clicking on a Google ad, but it takes me a couple of minutes to figure that out. All right, let's proceed. I don't know. That's interesting, I guess, but like, how much does it cost? But I am curious to try Cursor, so I think I'll probably install both of them. But maybe let's try it. Look, Claude looks like it says try. I assume we can get a free trial here. Let's see what it says. You have to log in right away. So it looks like I'm gonna have to pay $26 Australian right off the bat. Doesn't look like there's a free trial of Pro. That's not very nice. Wow, 155 bucks for Max. It's not cheap. What the hell? You only live once. I'll give it a go. Oh, now it costs $34 a month. I guess they had to add the GST or something. No, what? How did this become... Oh, is that $26 a month? Is that why? Yeah, I'm not going to sign up for a year's plan on something that I haven't even tried. Maybe I'll try Cursor first. These guys are getting greedy. What does this command actually do? It runs curl on that, on something that's base 64 encoded. This seems like a really... I don't think we should be encouraging people to do stuff like this, should we? Xenius.com. Okay, fine, I'll just download it. Oh, okay. System password. What is Xenius.com? This all seems like a little dodgy. Forbidden. What? Oh. Is this not the real... Is this a fake site? Cursor.ai code. This was like the first result that came up on Google, but I don't... What is this? Is this a scam? Oh. Oh, this is different. Whoa, okay. Oh, here we go. All right, the pricing's right here. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So, what was that all about? Okay, that was a fake site that was trying to screw with me. Okay, maybe I should report that to Google or something. Can I do that? Let's see if I can find it again. Where was it? That wasn't the one that came up. That one. Cursor AI. Cursor.com. Oh yeah, this is okay. Right. Now there's no way to report this, is there? Oh, it's cursor with an E. Oh. All right, editor Matt here again. So it turns out there actually is a button to report things like this to Google, which I did about an hour later, and they took down the ad. And the site had also disappeared about 15 minutes later. So I guess good job, Google, but also bad job for making ads look like search results, which is probably why scammers do this in the first place. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, so here's the real Cursor website. So free, we get Pro 2-week trial. Limited agent request, limited tab completions. Wow. You got to pay for your tab completions. They're not free, you know. Oh no, unlimited if you get the next one. Yeah. You know what? I'll give the free one a go, and we'll see how far we can get before we run into the limitations. Okay, so we've got Cursor. Interesting enough, looks like it'll let you use it without creating an account. I wonder what happens if you do that. Key bindings. No IntelliJ option. That's lame. All right, here we go. Do some coding. Okay. I think what I want to do is I'm just going to drop some of the assets that I used to create my game into a directory, and let's see if I can. Well, let's see. Let's see if I can convince it to create a game using those assets. Okay, so I've just created a new directory called AI Dungeon. I've put an assets folder in there with some like a tile set and some other tile set. There we go, and some other assets in it that we could use for make a game. So I'm just kind of wondering, can I just say, hey, here's some assets, make a little game? Will that work? Let's find out. Okay, it looks like it's just a chat interface. All right. Be polite. Hi. Okay. Wait, log in. Okay. All right, we didn't get very far. All right, so to get my free trial, I have to give them my credit card. Not really that surprising. Okay, I logged in. Can I press the button now? Okay, I have to do this. The world is very tedious these days. Remember when software was like simple and it just did what you want and it wasn't trying to like manipulate you into doing things all the time? Anyway, the modern world, what can you do? Code or cursor commands now. Okay, let's do that. Okay, I'm sure at some point I will actually get to write some code. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's go. Drum roll. Let's see what it says about this. The GT5 promotional period has ended. All GPT-5 requests will not consume, include usage, blah, 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 blah. What? Let's just go. All right. Okay, I'll check image dimensions to determine frame sizes for sprites and tile scaling. Then scaffold minimal. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. What's SIPs? I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna look that up. Oh, okay. SIPs command on macOS is command line utility for image processing. Okay, this looks cool. I like it. I'm actually learning. I've learned something already. Okay, and it wants me to run it again, this time for the knight. Time for the bat. Time for the slime. Start a local server, open this URL to play. Okay, here we go. It's done something. I mean, it's kind of cool. All right, so obviously there are some. Oh, there's actually some collision detection. It won't let me walk off the side of the map. That's cool. I like that. Obviously, it's not rendering these sprites correctly. Also, the map is pretty boring. It's only used one type of tile. So we've got the HTML file. So we got the canvas here. 512 by 384. Sure. Includes the main. Okay, yeah, I mean, that looks fair enough. Style sheet, I mean, whatever, who cares? Okay. So let's look at the code it generated. So it's got some constants up here. Tile size, 32 pixels, yep. Canvas width and height. Okay, very good. Gets the canvas, gets the context. Okay. Now it's got a function for loading images. All right, so it's going to generate a map. Okay, 1 wall, 0 floor. Okay, some rooms 10. I don't see 10 rooms here. Okay, all right. So it fills this map up with zeros and ones, where the zeros are going to be the floor and 1 will be the wall. Make the rooms with corridors. See, I don't see any corridors. Maybe let's come back to this room generation code. I'm more interested in why it's not rendering the sprites correctly. Okay, wait a second. Okay, so we got the keyboard input, key up and key down, and puts them in a set. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much exactly what I did in my code, so fair enough. Sprite helpers. Okay, draw tile. Image tile index, dx, dy. Yeah, I mean, I think this code is working because it is rendering the tiles correctly. It's only rendering one tile, but it does render the tile correctly. Okay, so loads all the resources. Okay, it creates this player object for the player. Okay, and we've got this monsters array. Yeah, type X, Y, phase. I'm guessing the phase is for the animation. So yeah, this one has a phase, this one has a wobble. But it's the same thing. Move with collision. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's using that radius property on the entities. Okay, so that's where it does the collision detection. That's nice. Okay, it's a function just called loop. So this is the callback for request animation frame. Okay. So it's checking to see how much time has passed since the last frame was rendered. That's good. It uses that for to make sure movement and animation stuff are correct, or it should anyway. Right. And okay. So here it's using this this delta time to update the player's frame time. Okay, so I think it's trying to figure out which frame to use in the animation because there's like 4 frames in the animation. So that's why it's this like mod 4 here, right? Do the monsters move in this game? They animate, sort of. They're not to be moving. Okay, so here's where this phase and wobble come in. The bat's Y. Okay, and the bat is moving up and down, right? Oh yeah, and like it's sort of doing it like a sine wave, right? Okay. The wobble, it increases the wobble, but does it use the wobble anywhere? Doing anything with the wobble. It doesn't actually update. Anyway, it renders blank canvas once per frame, very good. Okay, it draws the map. There's a couple of types. Assume 0 floor at tile index 1, wall floor at index 28. How does this index tiles? Okay, so it's like a linear index. 28 is what's picked for the floor, I think. Or the wall. The floor is 1. Which is... Oh, okay, that. Okay, so I picked that for the floor, and then 28 is something else. It looks like it's just blank. So curious what to pick there. I think something like this would have been better for the floor, right? Although it is quite bland. Something like this for the wall. That's not great either. All right. Anyway, next it tries to draw the player. Interesting that it hasn't like factored this stuff out into like separate like methods or into a class or anything. It just puts everything in the main loop. Not what I would do, but maybe you can ask it to refactor and stuff. Obviously, this isn't working. Well, I mean, it looks like it is trying to animate, but maybe just it's got the dimensions wrong somewhere. Frames per row 5. Actually, maybe I can bring up the asset here. Okay, I mean, to be fair, it's probably, you know, the number of frames for the different actions is you know, you can see this first one is 4. This one is 6, this one is 3. Interestingly enough, it's decided there are 5 frames, so I don't know, maybe it just sort of took the average. I don't know. Frame size 40. I don't know what any of the keyboard shortcuts are in this. K column times K frame size, which is 40. Okay, so 40 is not right. That is too big. So I think that's part of the problem. It always picks the walk row. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I get that. But yeah, this width is wrong. And then, so I think the problem is that this frame size is wrong. I think that's what's causing problems. So should I just fix it, or should I try to get the AI to fix it for me? I think I should try to see if I can get the AI to figure out what the problem is. I mean, once again, this code is not very generic. Like every monster is being drawn separately instead of having common logic for that. You know, this is not the nicest. Like, I think if a junior dev came to me with this, I'd say there's a better way to do this. But I did say a simple dungeon crawler, so maybe, you know, maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on it. I mean, maybe we're being mean here to the AI because the tiles are 32 by 32, but the sort of animated resources have different sizes. So how do I explain to it that it's messed something up with the animations? Let's just say, I'll give it a hint. All right, so the animations for the Knight, Bat, and Slime are all not rendering correctly. I think the problem is the source, height, and width values sent to draw image are not correct. Okay. Can it figure that out? 200, yeah, 5 by 5 grid of 40 by 40. Yeah, see, I mean, that's just incorrect. Assets could differ. Yes, yeah. I should inspect the images visually to detect the frame grid programmatically. Bat and Slime, 16, 16, 24, 24. Nah, I think that's still incorrect. But it seems convinced it's using 40 by 40 frames. I think this just like irregular way we've done things is too confusing for it. Draw a frame from a sprite sheet. Oh, okay. So has it made common code for all of them? If it has, that's a nice little improvement, even if it's still wrong. Okay, well, I like this. I like that it's factored things into this draw sprite frame. I think this value is still, 40 is still wrong though. I don't think these ones are correct either, but let's just keep all of them and see. Okay, actually, the slime is looking good. The bat is good, except seems to be rendering a blank frame. And the Knight is still completely wrong. So we'll tell the dimensions since we couldn't figure it out, and then we'll see if it can get it to modify the code. Let's see what it does. 20 by inside 40 by 40 cells. Still not quite getting it, is it? What's it doing with this cell size? I don't think this isn't going to work, is it? But anyway, I'm just curious. No. Okay, let's see. Will it figure this out? Actually, the cell size is also 22. Will it understand what I'm trying to tell it? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of telling me off for like, it's basically saying the asset is wrong. It's 200 by 200, which doesn't divide evenly. Like, you know, I guess like fair enough. I kind of get why it's confused by this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Except for the fact that there's one extra, yeah, it's one extra blank frame. So there's only 4 frames of animation. Let's see if it can figure that out. Okay. Hey, all right. That's cool. The bat. Oh, the bat has a similar problem. Let's fix the bat then, I guess. Okay, so the bat has 4 frames of animation. Okay. Okay, that's nice. So the bats are animating. Yeah, not quite a full game here yet, but you know, in a way, this isn't a bad start. It kind of understood what I wanted to do. It's got some collision detection. It's rendering some stuff on the screen. That keyboard controls work. I mean, this is not a bad start. The way the code is written and is, I wouldn't call this great code, especially this sort of this like main loop that has all this stuff hard coded in it. But maybe we can get it to refactor that. But I'm just going to go ahead and just commit this in Git. I wonder, can I ask it to do that? Okay, it checks if there's also a repo, already a repo. That's nice. Realize we don't have a readme. Okay, yeah, sure, fair enough. Okay, git reference. Okay, fine. Okay, so okay, the git repo's not there. All right, okay. Ooh, git commit, git init, and git branch dash m. Okay, sure, username Matt. Give an example. Look, can I edit this? Okay. Sure, interesting. So, oh, you've included the license information. Yeah, I like that. Nice. And information how to run it. Yeah, nice, nice. I like it. Good work. Okay, so what's next? I think there's a few things. We could ask it to maybe clean this code up a bit. I think having all this stuff in the main function is not great. Or we could do some other things, like we could ask it to render a nicer dungeon than this. Okay, there's a lot of code in the loop function, can refactor it. Okay, that's something you might say to a junior dev, right? I'll follow making code changes guidelines. Oh yeah, okay, well, yeah, sure, I like that. Okay, so let's take a look what it's done. Some changes here. Get movement vector from keys, okay. Update monsters, okay, yeah. Draw map, draw player, render, draw map, draw player, drop monster. Yeah, okay, that's a bit nicer. Does it still work? Okay, so the knight only ever faces one direction. I wonder, I kind of want it to like refactor the code or improve the code to be like a bit more generic in the way that it handles entities, because it's sort of treating all 3 of these somewhat separately at the moment. Whereas like ideally, like in my code, what I eventually did was I created like I used the entity component system pattern and then basically had these different entities just sort of driven by data. I don't know. Should I ask it to do that? Or at least, I mean, it doesn't need to do something as sophisticated as that. Maybe if it just, it should just generify this code so it's not special handling all these is basically what I want before I ask it to do any other improvements, because otherwise I think this is going to turn into like spaghetti code. Or I kind of wonder, like maybe if I just ask it to add the functionality to move the sprites, will it realize that it should do that in a generic way? I don't know. Let's do that first. Okay, so we'll ask it to make the monsters move around the dungeon. Okay, it's going to add path finding and wandering AI. Interesting. So it's got a path and a target tile now. Okay. No, I'm not exactly familiar with exactly what this is doing, but okay, yeah, they're moving around. Cool, I like that. I remember it's still not using this wobble for anything, is it? I kind of want to see if I can get it to explain why it added that wobble. Basically, jelly wobble animation on slimes. We advance over time, derive squish was. And the update not used. Yeah, okay. Sure, do that. Make the slimes wobble. Okay. Oh yeah, doing a translate. Okay. Interesting. It's interesting. It's king. It wants to commit right away. It doesn't say something like, "Hey, test this code first." Oh yeah, this is the slime. It's kind of hard to tell. I think it is making it slowly a little bit bigger and smaller. Okay, so what are some other problems? The knight appears smaller than the monsters. Can we make it bigger? Okay, that's a bit better. We've used almost a quarter of our tokens already. How about making the knight when it moves to the left? We would like to render the image reversed. When the knight is moving to the left, when we reverse the image, the knight is facing the direction it is moving. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, that looks good. The only problem is that you can see when it moves left or right, it kind of jumps a bit. How do I explain this problem to the AI? When the image flips from left to right, vice versa, the knight appears to jump horizontally. They jump horizontally by several pixels. Can we fix this? Anyway, did it fix the problem? Not quite. This is hard because like I'm not sure. Like it can't. I don't think it has any way of actually seeing the output, right? So it doesn't really. It's hard for me to tell it what the problem is. Maybe this is one of these things that's easier for me to just fix myself. What happens if we increase this? That made it worse. What if we make the flip nudge negative? Oh yeah. Okay, so it was on the right track with that solution. It's just that you can't really actually see what's going on. But you know, this is getting close. Let's see if we can get to use more tiles generating the map. That might be an interesting challenge. Okay, so right now we're only using 2 tiles from the tile map. Can we use more of them? Auto tiling based on neighboring tiles and decorations. That would be cool. Okay, I mean, that sounds pretty cool. Okay, so it's detected a bunch of different floors, some decals, some wall tops, wall bodies. Okay, cool. Let's return a tuple with a base and a decal. Okay, that's cool. And then choose wall index. Below is floor. It's below is it's a bit of a weird variable name, but I think it's trying to check if there's a floor bar below it. Okay, so get a top variant, otherwise get a body. Okay, and so draw tile takes an image and a decal. Okay. Try. I mean, there's sort of some of it sort of works. You can see it's sort of built. Why is it always so similar? That's interesting. I'm just trying to understand this decal logic. So F. I mean, why F? Why? I'm surprised at how bad it is at things like variable naming. I was kind of expecting that was the kind of thing it was going to do really well. Surprisingly bad at variable naming. Okay, so the map is still 0 or 1. It fills it all with 1s and then it overwrites some of it with 0s. Okay, let me create like a constant for this or something. Okay. All right, so this is impossible to read. Let's do some basic things and create an alias, right? It's interesting here. So it's going, oh yeah, I should replace the magic numbers. But if it knows magic numbers are bad, why did it use them in the first place? Okay, this is a bit nicer. All right. Okay, at least I know what's going on. Now, where was I? Okay, the decal code, right? Okay, if it's a floor tile and we have a decal, then we draw the decal over the top. Because there's multiple things that could be going wrong here. Like drawing the decals over might not be working. Although they have alpha channels, so I think it probably should work. It could just be the choice of tiles that it's using for like floors and walls and stuff. I mean, it kind of is, right? Like, obviously it thinks these are all floor tiles when they're not. Maybe I could just go pick them for it. All right, it's the next day. Back on the project. Yesterday it was making these maps that were a bit nonsensical. I think because over here, when they're picking the different types of tiles, it wasn't picking the right ones. So I've gone and helped it out a bit. And that sort of works. It looks a little bit better here. So I think the first thing is that there's no interaction between the player and the monsters. So let's just see if I ask it to add the ability for the monsters and the player to fight each other. What's going to happen? All right, that's pretty vague. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it realizes it needs to add combat. Okay, it realizes it'll need to add health, attack mechanics, melee. Okay, yeah, nice. Damage. Oh, it's going to add a HUD as well. All right. Should be interesting. So the player has some health points, some attack damage, some range. Okay. Cooldown. Yeah, that looks good. Same for the bat and the slime. All right. Okay. Adding these properties to the player and to the monster. Fair enough. All right. We got this attack timer as well. That'll probably go with the cooldown. Okay. It's looking for space. Okay. Attack press. If attack pressed and the attack timer is less than or equal 0 and the game hasn't finished, then get the range between the player attack range times, and then for each monster, the monster is not dead, get the distance to the monster, and then if so, damage the monster. Okay, yeah, okay. It's got this idea of a hit flash. It's very similar to what I did in my game. Okay, this is similar to what I did in my game as well. If it's near player, it will attack. Get the distance to the player, move towards the player, attack if in range. It's kind of interesting right here. It's not using like any kind of, object-oriented programming here. Instead of like saying like, monster dot cooldown, it just takes the type and then does a turn array on that. It's a bit, I don't know why it's doing it that way. That's probably not how most people, I mean, like if we introduced a third or a fourth or a fifth monster, right? This is gonna I mean, I guess it could turn into a switch statement, but yeah, it's a bit strange that it codes it that way. But anyway, maybe we'll add it to ask it to add more monsters in the future and see what it does. Cleaning up dead monsters. Okay, yeah. It's going to draw some kind of HUD. I mean, okay. I mean, this looks like it might work. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Can't move. Is there an error? Okay. Player is not defined. Yes. So let's tell it what the problem is. Okay. Let's see what it thinks about this. Let's just see if it fixed it. Okay, alright, looks like we're not getting an error now. Okay. I can move. Alright. Oh, okay, so everyone's got a little health bars. How do I... Space to attack, right? Or can I just... No, I have to press space. You died. Press others. Okay, so if I don't do anything, I'll just die. But if I press space... Okay, that's cool. I like the health bars, but there's no animation. Ideally, I'll realize there's already an animation in the sprite sheet. Oh yeah, we've used the first row for walking, different row for the attack. Some confusion in the sprite sheet's layout. Let's just try, see what it does. Okay. Oh, okay. It is using a different animation, but it got the wrong row. We wanted to use row 2 instead. It doesn't know how to handle the fact that there's only 3 rows in the animation, so it just kind of blinks. Also, I think we should make the combat radius a bit bigger. Just try to explain the problem. Alright, let's see if that fixes anything. Oh yeah, that looks good. Now we've got this health system. Maybe it would be good if I could, like, pick up the mushroom to get health. I'm really curious to see if this works. We'll be able to figure out, if I just say a mushroom, will it be able to figure out what tile I'm talking about? Okay, when the player walks over a mushroom decal, they should get some health. I'm unsure which of these corresponds to the mushrooms. Well, the tile set previewing to the mushroom decal set like 22, 23. I guess I could just tell it which one is the mushroom. Okay, so it's decided these 3 different tiles are the mushroom. Okay, subtle green health flash and pick up. I like that's a nice touch. All right, let's see what happens. Okay. Oh, okay. Walking over those things did something. Okay, let me... Oh, actually, I should let myself get injured a bit. Okay, now I'll walk over that. Oh, I got some health. Oh, I got some health from that. The skeleton. Oh, okay. Alright, but it's kind of got the idea. Okay, only tile 23 is a mushroom. Seems like that worked. Okay, let's lose some health first, and then... Okay, where's the mushroom? There we go. Alright, cool. Why are there always less mushrooms? There's something strange about that. Okay, tile 37 is crystal. Players should get some points when they collect this tile. Tile 37 grants plus 10 score. Crystals disappear after pick up. Score is shown hard. Okay, cool. Okay, we got a score. Okay, whoop. Alright, we got 10 points. Get some health. Get some more points. Hey, Editor Matt here. So after this, I spent about 90 minutes with the AI getting it to add an editor to the game. The UI was a little quirky and it took a few attempts, but we got there in the end. We also added scrolling to the game, which it got right, I think after the first or second try. Anyway, for some reason OBS didn't record my screen properly, so we're just going to skip forward to a bit later. Alright, so the game is sort of having issues. It's trying to figure out the correct wall tiles to use, but it's not doing a very good job. So maybe if we give it our own rules on how to place the tiles, it'll do a better job. Okay, so just having a quick look at the tile map, which I have over here. I've sort of come up with these rules. So we need to change the way the tiles are chosen when generating levels. If map coordinate is a floor, then tile 81 should be used. If a wall is above a floor, then tile 1 should be used. If a wall is below a floor, then tile 33 should be used. If a wall is to the left of a floor, then tile 16 should be used. If a wall is to the right of a floor, then tile 18 should be used. If a wall is not adjacent to any floors, then tile 17 should be used. Okay, so this is incomplete. I haven't told it what to do if there's, say, a floor to the left and below, etc. Like those diagonal cases I haven't taken care of. So let's just see, partly because I'm not sure we actually have good tiles for all those cases, but let's just see what it does with this. All right, looks like it's made a few changes. Looks like it might work. Let's just try it out and see. This is better. Okay, this is sort of working. Let's tweak this a little more. I think I actually like this code here. It figures out to have floor above, below, left, right, and then It won't be hard to extend this to cover the diagonals as well. This is good. Close enough. Okay. Cool. This is looking better. So this looks alright. It's not perfect. Maybe we can fix up the diagonals at least. Seems too hard actually. What happened to all the decals? I wonder if the editor still works. Ah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, nice. You can put a mushroom or a crystal. Okay. Ooh, there's some mushrooms. Let's just let's get injured first, and then mushroom still works. Nice. There's a lot of mushrooms. Very generous with the mushrooms. Crystals are supposed to be more rare. Let's see if we can find a crystal. I'm stuck. Oh wait, no. Okay. Oh, there is a crystal. There we go. Very rare crystal. I think we need some kind of end state of the game, like once you collect every crystal or something. Let's also see if we can fix these diagonals. Let's just do that, and then if that works, we'll do the others. Yeah, and there we go. That's the wall we wanted. Let's do the rest of them. Looking a little better. So there's still a few cases we haven't covered, but that was a lot of it. All right, so I think we've almost got a game here. Obviously, there's still some issues with the tile layout and stuff. I think it's partly because the tile set doesn't actually have all the tiles we need to make some of this work. Basically, it's sort of generating geometries that the tile set doesn't actually support. We could update the tile set, or we could try and change the way it generates levels or something, but I think I've kind of had enough fun messing around with this, so I just want to like tie this up. So maybe we'll just make it so there's some sort of win condition when you collect all the crystals. So let's see if we get that to work. Okay, once the player has collected all the crystals and the level the player has, won the game, and should see a message of congratulations. Also, there should be an indicator to tell the player how many more crystals they need to collect. Okay. All right. So we've collected 0 out of 0 crystals. Oh no. Now the number of crystals is increasing. Okay, we've got 1 out of 466 crystals. 568 crystals left to go. Let's try this again. Oh. Alright, fixed one error and created another. Still says 0 crystals. Okay, okay, I've got 1 out of 0 crystals. Oh, okay, it says 0 out of 3. 3 left, okay. Alright, 3. Congratulations, you collected all the crystals. Ah, pressing R doesn't work. Alright, it's still got a few bugs, but you know, I feel like we built a game using AI. I think we've done what we set out to do. And I think the editor is quite cool. You can kind of see when you lay down floors, it knows the correct tiles to put around them. Okay, maybe it gets confused in some places, but you know, this is kind of cool. Yeah, love it. It's great. All right, so let's wrap it up there. So overall, I think it took me a bit less than 5 hours to do that using the GPT-5 model in Cursor. So I think like overall to like, you know, build a game like that from scratch without any libraries or anything in like less than 5 hours, I think that's pretty impressive. I think I was like most impressed about the model's ability to take like fairly vague instructions, and it usually did a pretty good job of like guessing what I wanted, like much better than I was expecting, in fact. Like I could just say, hey, I want to build a dungeon crawler in JavaScript with these assets, and it pretty much understood what I wanted, even if it didn't quite work at the start. It figured out what I wanted to do, which was quite cool. It's also kind of fun, like the AI does all the kind of tedious stuff for you, like the typing and looking up the docs and that kind of stuff, and it can even do like the git commits for you, all that kind of stuff. So it makes coding for like hours on end a lot less fatiguing, and you know, you can go get a snack while it's thinking. I think what I was unpleasantly surprised by was the quality of the code it produced wasn't actually that great. It used a lot of magic numbers, it used a lot of like single letter variable names, wrote long functions that did like lots of different things. Curiously, if you kind of told it to refactor and fix these things, it usually would, but it kind of makes me wonder why it doesn't do that automatically. I guess maybe because it takes a lot of tokens. Also, it's sort of thing like you would think like a linter or a prettifier, like, you know, like in IntelliJ, you can just set it up so it automatically tells you off for doing all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if like it's built into the IDE. I'm not sure why it doesn't do a better job of that kind of thing. Like I feel like it should. In terms of the larger organization of the code, it tended to like special case things instead of coming out with like more generic solutions, which is probably the thing I find most worrying about the code it produces. If you were trying to do anything like non-trivial. Also, it was putting all the code in one file, so I asked it to move the code out to different files. It was very reluctant to do that, and it made like a kind of a half-assed attempt, but it basically put almost all the code remained in the main.js file, which ended up being almost 950 lines long, which I think 950 lines of like untyped vanilla JavaScript is probably something to be concerned about. The other problem is as the program got bigger, it started to have more and more errors in the code, and the errors were usually that was referencing a variable or constant that was out of scope. This seems like a pretty basic error. Also, once again, like an error you would expect the IDE to like catch for you. Maybe it's because it's JavaScript, maybe in other languages it works better, but that was like pretty frustrating. So like overall, I don't know, in a lot of ways it's like quite impressive. Like I was able to get something built pretty quickly. So, if you only kind of care about the output and you don't really care about the quality of the code, I could see how this is kind of cool. But I think if you do care about the quality and maintainability of the code, it's probably an issue. And I'm really curious to know how this kind of thing works on like larger code bases. Yeah, but anyway, that's my overall impressions. So thanks for watching.